Hi, it is June the 2nd and it is 3:29 p.m. I was actually asked to do a posting today. I really don't have any much of an update. I'm just continuing on, going on, volunteering at the Assembly Hall, and we're kind of on hiatus right now because it's summer. And what else? Oh, that I have no news from Daily Bread Food Bank in the sense that I have sent them the actual, because I'm up at, where is it? Excuse me, St. James Food Pantry, accessing the food bank when I need to access it, and I'm making appointments up there because of Jeffrey Wong and Samantha Cook putting forward a illegal trespassing warning, which I was never really charged for by the Toronto Regional Police when I called 22nd Division. So there was that, where what is going on from Daily Bread Food Bank, and I've sent numerous emails over there in regards to the fact that the trespassing warning is illegal. Jeffrey Wong and Samantha Cook have illegally blocked my I suppose I've spoken about this before, that they have illegally blocked my link to feed, which is an international link to feed nationwide, and that I'm using the same client ID that I registered for over at New Toronto Street, because the proximity of where I live, and those of you who know I'm in the neighborhood know where I live over at 2666 Lakeshore Boulevard West, is a 20-minute walk from New Toronto Street Daily Bread Food Bank, or depending on how you catch the bus and the streetcar, it's the same amount of time. Going over to the actual, then right now, Jeffrey Wong and Samantha Cook have stated that I have to go up to St. James Food Pantry, which had stated that because of what's going on with the influx of Ukrainian refugees, Nigerian refugees, and just in general, and the influx and the rise of the amount of people who use the food bank, they're up to, I guess, 1,800. They only open 3 times a month, and second Saturday of the month, and the last 2 Wednesdays. So they're up to 1,800. They had served 250 clients within 1 hour when I was there once. So anyways, that's what Daily Bread Food Bank is doing. I should be able to go there. I'm 15-minute walk away. They know this. Toronto Regional Police knows this. There's been a fight with Board of Directors with Mr. Hetherington, and they're tirelessly fighting, and they're tirelessly speaking to and about how Samantha Cook and Jeffrey Wong and now Gretchen Daniels have actually, a couple days ago, Samantha Cook was seen outside my building, and they're blocking it, and it's illegal. So, I'm still working together with Daily Bread Food Bank in order to get over there as a client and quite potentially get back as a volunteer, because of the fact I was illegally, falsely accused as doing things that's pretty vague. They had sent someone in that looked like me, obviously, and caused a disturbance in the food bank. And so Jeffrey Wong and Samantha Cook used that as an opportunity to get me out of Daily Bread Food Bank, and used that as an opportunity to get me out as a client and illegally, and get me out as a volunteer when I launched the internal investigation. So we're still working on that, and there has to be a certain amount, according to the law, in which I had quoted. It was from the Supreme Court ruling from Mr. Hennitz, and I'm going to say his name wrong, and the Scouts Canada. He was illegally, falsely accused of doing something, basically it was hearsay, and he was falsely accused over with Scouts Canada. He fought it, he brought it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court charging the other individual. There was a 6-month lapse in which he had no communication with Scouts Canada, and what had ended up happening is it set a precedent for organizations who use volunteers as as help, essentially unpaid help. The amount of volunteers that are used, and I don't know if you attended the May 30th open house, the amount of volunteers that are used over at Daily Bread Food Bank supersedes the amount of people who actually are staff. The amount of staff and or maybe it can be actually the same amount. The amount of staff both on-site and remote, and the amount of volunteers in terms of production and in terms of in the kitchen. In terms of in the kitchen, there's only, there's Chef Michael Greenberg, there's Chef Attila Lorenzo, there's Chef Se Wong, there was Randy, but I don't know if he's there, and there's Editon. So there was like five individuals who were actual staff and our staff in the kitchen, and Charles Juggle, who's in charge of like all of them, in charge of the kitchen. So, but when on any given day, and I'm talking about the kitchen because I went from production into the kitchen and I launched the investigation from the internal investigation with Charles Juggle. So I just want to speak about that. So on any given day in the kitchen, okay, there would have been, I'm just talking about when I went there. I was all day. So in the morning, there would have been me, there would have been two volunteers or three volunteers that worked with Say, and I worked with Randy, generally speaking. And then there was another volunteer who generally worked with me. And then over with Editon in her room, doing, what's it called? Chopping ingredients for the production that Attila had that would go out to the GTA and making some soups and stews and that. So she would have had, on any given day, she would have had 6 volunteers. So we're looking already 6 with Editon, 3 with Say, and 2 or 3 with Randy. And then again, there could have been another 2 over, or another person over doing dish. So probably 8 to 10 volunteers in the morning. In the afternoon, there's probably not a lot of volunteers, I can tell you that. There was generally maybe 3 or 4 volunteers with Editon. And then there was me, and then there was probably another good couple of volunteers. Generally speaking, that's when they had a lot of volunteers who would come in the afternoon, corporate volunteers and volunteers from other organizations. So they would come in the afternoons, generally speaking. I had rarely seen them being scheduled for the morning because the morning volunteers were always very, very busy. So that's kitchen. So we're talking about 5 staff and the rest, generally speaking, 10 volunteers during the morning. And then over in production, we have Damien Morningstar, Rob Snowden, I'm going to say your name wrong, sorry Rob, Rob Snowden and Andrew, and then they have Lara Conchacheo and Heather Valentino, who work on the office part. They don't actually work in the production hall itself. And then they have Leo and Karen. They had Karen and John. John's no longer there, but there he's a staff member now. So those, how many is that? Damien, Rob, Andrew, Larry, Lara, Heather. Did I say Karen, Leo. So that's like 7, right? 8, sorry, it's math. So that's 8 production staff in the production hall. I cannot tell you how many. So generally there was 5 stations. And at 5 stations, there would have been a table captain and 6. So 6 individuals who would have been helping at the table. 3 on each side, 4 on each side. Then there was generally a corporate volunteers or school volunteers, and then there were people who was what called the grain room, I called it the grain room, who would be packaging up grains and crackers, granola bars and everything that were seconds from a company. So let's take it, we're talking, let's see, maybe about 50 to 60 volunteers in the production hall, and we only had 8 staff members. Okay, so let's look at the whole picture. The whole picture is that precedent that was set is that now, because of the fact that a lot of companies are using volunteers, and I'm not angry, I'm just making a point. A lot of companies are using volunteers to basically, they're unpaid volunteers to get the job done. Production volunteers get the job done. Let me tell you, warehouse volunteers, I'm not even talking about the amount of volunteers over in the warehouse with Kevin. They get the job done. And then there's the volunteers over in the Welcome Center like Augustina and Jessica. And then there's the volunteers over in INS that work with Tenzin, and the volunteers that work with Trevor O'Neill and Doranda Charlton over in the food bank itself, getting the food out to the clients. So the actual, what they're talking about, when I quoted the actual, the precedent that was said, that staff members who use volunteers on a regular basis have to actually have to have a relationship. They have to have a relationship with each and every volunteer and staff member in order to get the job done and get it out there. They cannot continuously, like the People's and Culture Department, where Alison Gibbons and Jeffrey Wong, who are they are People's and Culture, right? That's what he says. I'm People's and Culture. I'm in charge of every single volunteer that goes through that doors. Well, Jeffrey Wong, wrong. Because of the fact the precedent was set by Mr. Henson at Scout Canada and the Supreme Court, it has to be a relationship built with every single volunteer and every single staff member in which the departments of the volunteers work. It's not just Jeffrey Wong and his vision and his mandate to get volunteers and clients that he did not like, as well as Samantha Cook, out of Daily Bread Food Bank, me included. Now, I could say, okay, Michelle, that was really, they're really vindictive and everything. You're just saying one person. I'm not. I was seventh out of seventh. I was the seventh person. But anyways, so that's what's going on with Daily Bread. I'm working together with Daily Bread, with members of the Daily Bread production staff, members of the Daily Bread safety team, members of the Daily Bread human HR team, members of the board of directors, and of course Mr. Neil Hetherington, who is the president of the board of directors, who are constantly and still looking at this whole internal investigation and how wrong and how illegal Samantha Cook and Jeffrey Wong have been, as well as Alison Gibbons. But Alison Gibbons, they don't really take into account anything that she really says. So that's what's going on with them. Volunteering, yes. There has been one of the reasons why I was supposed to be speaking about you, and if you ever, once I get the rally or organized, you will notice the fact that I go off on tangents and speaking when I do that. So you should be used to me by now. I'm speaking to all of you who wear purple. When you wear purple, I understand what that color is for, and I also know that color is for that you have suffered greatly, and what has happened with Jonas Regato, how he would lacerate, and Dallas Winston, how you would lacerate the feet of the young women who he's actually raped. And when he does that, and he bandages them up and tells you to walk home at gunpoint. Well, my legs and my ankles are the way they are because of Jonas Regato and because of Duncan Smith. That is what happened. Okay? It happened. And I'm not being trivializing or blasé about it, but people wonder about why my ankles and why my legs are scarred and bruised, and why they are the way they are. I walk with my foot turned in is because when I was a child, my foot was crushed. The bones of my foot was crushed. And I had to learn how to walk with my foot broken. The bruise on my leg, I'm just explaining this because people are wondering, and I was asked by a Toronto Regional Police officer to explain it. The left leg, I have a bruise there and it's a scar. That's mostly because I was shoved and I was pushed under a bus in St. Catharines. This was, I think it was pre-COVID, it may have been during COVID. If you know when you get up on a bus, and so here's the door to the bus, right? And then there's the, I don't know what you call that, the step, okay? The step. The step was not down, I had to step up. But as I was going, I had to grab my grocery bags. And as I was going, I was at the Penn Center. And I went to step up, and somebody shoved me right under the bus. And my leg, the bus wasn't moving. My leg, where you see the bruise on my left leg, it caught the bus step, and it smashed right across it. So it's still broken. I've been walking with like a hairline fracture for years. They've done MRIs, ultrasounds, x-rays. They cannot repair it. So that's why that is the way that is. And those were individuals over in Niagara. They have since been arrested many years ago. So probably I think back in 2024, many years, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So they've been arrested, for assault, obviously. The other thing, I think that's it. My tattoos are tattoos. The one tattoo on the left, on my right hand side, a lot of people would say that that's a tag from being in a gang. No, actually, that I have a friend who is Japanese, and I knew her in Pennsylvania, and she actually wrote the characters for me. And it means one who is blessed. And the tattoo on the other side is I had a phase where I went through and I like tattoos and everything. So the tattoo on the other side is actually my baby spoon, and it was silver baby spoon, and what it was is actually either vines, and there's a heart on the one side. It probably needs recoloring, and on the other side you'll notice that there's nothing there. The whole thing about that is I had this wonderful idea that when I met my soulmate, this was me and my friends at the time. When I met my soulmate, I was going to get my initials done, and then after the wedding ceremony or the reception, I was going to have a tattoo artist come and then put another heart on the other side, color it, and put his initials done, and then that was going to be part of the ceremony or the reception, which somebody said was really foolish, but you know, it was what it was. And then on the back, eventually I will go to the beach, or I will wear like a tank top or whatever, where you could see through on the back. This was for because I had a lot of friends who were gay and like homosexual man and lesbians, and so I hung around that community for a while. I had friends who were homosexuals, and anyways, so I'm not going to show you. I have a rose, and it was developed in Holland as a multicolor rose, and I guess it was adopted by the homosexual community, the LGBTQ. I'm sorry if I say it wrong. I apologize to that community, and it was known as rainbow rose. So I got that done on my shoulder. And actually, truth be told, I wanted to get a tree frog on the top of my foot, but I never actually got it done. And then I wanted to get something done on my wrist here, like a Bible verse, but I actually on my arm, on my forearm, but because I had what was known as a coronary cardiac angiogram, that's probably not a good idea, because what had happened is they inserted a needle into my arteries when they thought I had a heart attack. So, yeah, and I just want to say something about all those medical issues that had happened. I'm healed. So our Heavenly Father has healed me. So that's pretty much all that's going on right now. I'm enjoying the weather. I try to go out for a walk every day because I feel like I'm gaining weight. But a lot of people say you're not gaining weight, you look real healthy. So I appreciate that, let me tell you. And I'm very happy that we're getting the June 5th, what's that called? The June 5th grocery benefits. So I will be going downtown on Friday morning. And I hope to invite my Nigerian sister, Linda, but if I can't, I can't. That's okay too. If she doesn't want to come, I'll go down there, and I'll be going to Winners. I am going to say too that I was up at the Winners on Nova Road, North Queen Street last Saturday, and first and foremost, it's not that I don't like that Winners. I love Winners. Somebody told me to go up there. I don't think I'll go there. I applied for a job up there because they are hiring. I applied for a number of Winners for the city throughout my area, like at Liberty Village, and I'm going to see if I can apply to the one downtown on Front Street, the one I frequent, down by the market. Excuse me. If anybody who takes the TTC, and you'll probably concur with me on this, you take the TTC bus, and it took half an hour to turn from the Queensway onto North Queen Street into Nova Road, so I could get off of Nova Road. I've gone up there before, and it's done the same thing. Half an hour. Let me tell you something. It takes me 15 minutes just to get downtown, and then I go walk to Winners, and like another 10 to 15 minutes. Half an hour, same. It's not that I don't like your store up there, guys, but it takes me, 15-20 minutes to go up to the Long Branch for a streetcar, and then another half an hour to get up to where Queensway and North Queen Street, and then in order to turn down Queen Street, to turn down North Queen Street. There's another half an hour, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour to turn down there on a Saturday. I'm sorry. This isn't me just like when I go up there next, and I will go up there, this may be blowing my chances of getting a job, but let me tell you, I leave that up to our Heavenly Father where I work. But let me tell you, next time I go up there, it'll be with a friend and in a car. So normally I go downtown. I like it downtown. I like going down there because then I can go to Kochi and then I can go down to the St. Lawrence Market. So that's what's going on. I hope everybody is enjoying the weather. Like I said, apparently they're filming outside, down up and down the street. And you see the police around. The police are still protecting me, and the police are still looking for for everybody, and going to actually get them arrested, in jail, and put away. And I'm praying for everybody as well. And I noticed a new color. The new color is peach, and they told me what the new color was. That the new color was because someone had a miscarriage when they were wearing white. And correct me if I'm wrong. So put it in the chats. Someone had a miscarriage when they were wearing white and their pants turned peach color, and I'm very sorry for that. And I pray for healing for everyone as well. But no, that's not being tried. I'm very sorry. So actually, if you see me wearing peach, it's because during a raping schedule at some point, I did become pregnant and I did have a miscarriage. So I might be buying something peach this weekend. So when I wear all the colors, you have to know that every single thing has happened to me as it's happened to you. And that's why I've started it, and that's why I've continued it, and that's why. So I am praying for you. Love you all.